I bought a $30 painting at a thrift store to cover a hole in my wall. 3 months later, I discovered it was hiding a message that changed my life. When my roommate moved out suddenly, she took her artwork and left me with ugly nail holes in our rented apartment walls. With my security deposit at stake and zero budget, I hit the local Goodwill looking for anything to cover the damage. That's where I found its horn, a mediocre landscape painting in heavy vintage frame for $30. The mountains were oddly proportioned, the colors slightly too vivid, clearly someone's amateur art class project. But the frame was exactly the right size to cover the largest hole, so I bought it without a second thought. For 3 months, that ugly painting hung in my living room. I almost forgot it was there until my cat knocked it off the wall during one of her midnight sprints. When I picked it up, I noticed the backing had partially separated from the frame. As I went to push it back in place, I spotted something tucked between the canvas and the backing printed, a folded envelope, yellowed with age. Inside was a handwritten letter dated May 15, 1973, and a small key. "My dearest Elizabeth," it began. "If you are reading this, you found the first clue. The rest of our story is waiting where we shared our first kiss. You always said that day changed your life. I hope this does too. All my love, James." I was intrigued, but also felt like I was intruding on something deeply personal. Who were Elizabeth and James? Why was this love letter hidden in a thrift store painting? The signature at the bottom included a last name, Parent Winters. On impulse, I searched social media for Elizabeth Winters in my city. Dozens of profiles appeared, but one caught my eye. An elderly woman whose profile picture showed her standing in front of mountains eerily similar to those in my ugly painting. I sent her a message explaining my find, half expecting to be ignored or blocked. Instead, she responded within hours. "Where did you find this? I've been looking for 49 years. We met the next day at a coffee shop. Elizabeth, now 76, arrived clutching a photo album. The moment she saw the painting, her hands trembled. "I painted this in 1973, she whispered. "James and I were engaged, but my parents disapproved. He left this painting at my apartment before leaving for Vietnam." She hadn't found his letter before her parents sold most of her belongings. While she was away at her grandmother's, she'd spent decades wondering if he tried to contact her. The key she immediately recognized belonged to a safety deposit box at the bank near the park bench, where they'd shared their first kiss. We went there together, my heart racing almost as fast as hers. Inside the box was a ring, another letter, and stock certificates purchased in her name paired, now worth over $300,000. "Elizabeth," the letter read, "if I don't make it back, please know you were the best part of my life. If I do, I'll find you again. Either way, this is your future. Live it beautifully." James had died in Vietnam just weeks after hiding the letter. Elizabeth never married. He always said that kiss changed his life, she told me, tears streaming down her face. And now, almost 50 years later, he's changed mine again. She insisted I keep the painting part to remember that sometimes love takes the long way home. Partai, but gave me a check that covered my graduate school tuition. Sometimes the most valuable finds aren't things but the stories behind them, waiting decades for someone to finally notice.